Hello, hello, and welcome back for another awesome mind, body, spirit chat. Shortly, I will be joined by my dear friend, Jennifer, who will help me educate you guys about how to really build healthy habits, how to think about it, what it actually means. But before she jumps on, as a reminder, my name is Laura Weinerkaiser, and I work as a stress and mindset coach because for me, my career has taken me stride by stride to the next step of what I needed it to be. And that looked like, starting as a personal trainer. And then I wanted to get into healthy. And then I became a nutrition specialist. And that was really helpful and successful. But then I realized people were just using it as another diet. So then I became a health and life coach and realized that what really keeps people stuck is their stress and their mindset. And so that is where we land, trying to get things at the heart of the issue. But Jennifer, welcome.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Would you do me the great favor of telling everybody a little bit more about what you do?
Well, I am a master's prepared registered dietitian that not only talks about food with people, but I like to dive into that behavioral stuff. Like why is it that we know what to do, but we just don't do what we know we should be doing, kind of thing. Help people overcome those barriers, as well as find that, that balanced exercise, balanced nutrition, and all the mindset stuff. So I guess that's in a nutshell.
Well, that's just a big reason why we bonded so early on is I think we both see that being healthy and building healthy habits into your life isn't, categorical. It's we are one being and we have to treat the being that we are in order to really get the results we all want.
Yes. Yes.
So today we are here to talk about how to build healthy habits. And I feel like the best place to start is really kind of defining what we even mean. So when you think of healthy habits, Jen, what comes to mind?
Um, well, I think, everybody has a different thought on this, because the reason why where I'm coming from on this is that people have their own mind, like their own definition in their mind of what healthy is to them. Okay. So, and there's a lot of different aspects of health. Not only do we have to look at healthy from the perspective of, what we put into our body and how we take care of our body, but also how do we take care of our mind?
Mm-hmm.
And so I really like to, ask people, how are you going to become the best and the healthiest person that you can be? They might have like a really large vision of what that is. But, we have to kind of just look at it per person, and for them to address those different areas in their lives.
Totally.
Yeah. So what about you? I just, off the cuff there, but.
No, I totally agree. I think it is a personal definition. We get bombarded with these messages from culture about what being healthy is, and it's very easy to kind of get sucked into that, but it is an individual journey because it's a lifestyle, and you are really the only one who gets to dictate what you want your lifestyle to be like and what elements that include. So my personal definition of healthy habits are, specific actions I take to improve the resiliency of my mind, body, and spirit. So sometimes that's exercise, but it's also, taking in healthy messages about emotions or stress or mindset and trying to, instead of just watching, trash TV, quote unquote, like I like to watch interviews or listen to podcasts through experts to try and consume different helpful data, which I think gives my brain kind of a shift in perspective. So I think of it like you totally said, mind, body, and spirit. And I really try to be proactive about the actions taken And my measurement is really like kind of an internal sense of feeling balanced. The greatest thing for me is when I feel imbalanced, I know, like, hold on, there's an action, or there's, a greater pressure in one avenue of my life that needs more support. And it makes me kind of think differently about how I'm acting. Like COVID, for example, much more pressure. I was meditating twice a day. Now I only meditate once a day because I don't feel as much pressure as I did when COVID was around. So I kind of try to keep it adaptive to, what I'm experiencing.
Yeah, and what your body needs.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I think of like healthy habits, again, I think that we are so easily influenced by the culture around us, and there's millions of healthy habits. But I don't actually want to speak specifically about the habits. Like, it's not exercise, meditate, eat right.
Right.
But more the actual creation of, because like we just said, you're the one defining what healthy is for you. So rather than say these are what the things you need to do and further the cultural message that I just told you not to bite into, let's talk a little bit about actually building habits. And I think one of the things that is really unspoken about when it comes to building habits is you're also breaking one. So if you want to wake up in the morning and get a workout in, as an example, you're breaking the habit of sleeping in and enjoying your coffee first thing in the morning. That's something that you might do and feel rewarding around. And sure, you might have your coffee after your workout or even before your workout, but you're still shifting the behavior. And our brain and body are so automatic that that's the thing that I don't think we prepare for. We're so focused on like, I want this habit for these reasons because of this outcome. And we don't anticipate the kind of challenge of breaking the habit. What do you think?
Oh, I agree with you 100% on that. And I think that sometimes people get really hung up on that stopping the bad habit. And I only use that word hang up because it's almost like a burden, and there's a little saying, when we say resist, like when we want to resist something, the mind says insist, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat late at night, or I want to avoid the vending machine. I had a client just earlier today. She's feeling, like she gets into this trance, of the vending machine. So it's working through that. And I feel that when it comes to building a habit, we have to do it in the positive.
Mm-hmm.
So by looking at, okay, what can we do? So I want to live, I am healthy, I am strong, is going to that belief process, that belief and that thought process is going to help prevent us from maybe doing the unhealthy habit because it doesn't fit into our mindset. But like you were saying, it's like sometimes when we start building that healthy habit in, yes, the bad habit goes away, like sleeping in, but by just focusing on the fact that we're doing something positive and not worrying about the other, it helps. It helps a little bit.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I love that idea. And I think it's important that, it's focused,
Yeah.
right? If you focus on, I don't want to go to the vending machine, your focus is on the vending machine, making you think about the vending machine, making you want to go to the vending machine.
Right. Right. And I was thinking too, like, like in the morning, when someone's trying to get that exercise routine in, they're waking up, maybe they have their coffee and then they go exercise. And then it's like, it's a win-win, or the other way around. So yeah.
Let me clarify. What I'm saying is I totally agree with you. You need to focus on what you're getting. But I think what people are kind of, I guess, misguided by, what throws them off track is the discomfort of the breaking.
Totally.
Because they expect the positivity. And I get it.
Yeah.
Like, we want you to focus on the positivity, but change can be uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's more about understanding if you're feeling uncomfortable, that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It actually probably means you're doing something right.
Right.
And if you keep your focus on the pleasure and make it more pleasurable, that's what's going to get you there. So, as an example, I used to work out in the middle of the day because I worked at the gym. And when I started my business, I had this idea, okay, I'm going to wake up in the morning and get more work done so I can work out in the middle of the day. And when I tried to look at my computer, it was like all blurry because it was like 4 a.m. and it just wasn't going to work. And I realized, all right, well, maybe I'll just do a little yoga. And I felt really good. And slowly and surely, it became a habit. And the thought pattern was, well, I could sleep in, which is what I wanted to do, or I could work out. And if I work out, I already know through experience that I'm going to feel empowered, confident, and capable. So when I was laying in bed considering, do I snooze for that extra hour, or do I want to feel empowered, confident, and capable? Of course that got me out of bed because I wanted that. And let's be real, the extra hour of snoozing never is as satisfying as that energy I would get from the workout. So to your point, absolutely focusing on what you want, but understanding discomfort doesn't mean you need to go backwards. It's just a significant marker of change. And to that point, you know, I think it's important to notice cues. Like habits are built on cues, right? We wake up in the morning, we don't like the taste in our mouth, we go brush our teeth. We have cues around different habits all the time. We're stressed, we go to the vending machine. Mm-hmm. What is the cue that you're witnessing within the stress? And then we can habit stack and put a different habit on top of that, one that might actually give you the energy you crave so you can feel pleasurable. Do you do that with your clients?
Oh, all the time. And I feel that, it's finding that right spot for that new healthy habit, right, in your day. So I like to use the example of, when we take a shower. Okay. And where I'm going with this is that how much we do automatic without thinking about it. So, the routine, we turn the water on, we wait till it gets hot, maybe get the towel ready. You get in, you get wet, you shower, you rinse, you soap, you rinse. And all of these things that you do in the course of this, 15, 20 minutes of the shower, so many different things are happening, right, in a sequence that we don't even think about it. Right? So the idea is that we're inserting that new habit, like say the exercise, say in the morning, at a particular time, whether it's after the coffee or after we get out of the bed. After we get out of the bed, we put our exercise clothes on. After we put our exercise clothes on, we have a cup of coffee. After a cup of coffee, it's go time. Right. After go time, time to have a little cup of coffee. And before you know it, it's built into the routine. Yeah. And that's the ultimate goal for creating, in my mind, the ultimate goal for creating a healthy habit that's going to stick because it's already put into an existing routine. If we want to do
So let's give some examples. When I reflect on my own experience, because I totally agree with you, like that morning habit I've now been doing for 3 years, and it's like religious to the point when I go up north to be around my family, that means I have to be up at 3 a.m. instead of 4 a.m. And 4 a.m. is early enough. Fuck 3 a.m. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I hate 3 a.m. But that means I also have to get to bed by 8 p.m. And I'm like, what am I, a toddler? And it sucks in certain lights because I'm taking time away from my family. But it also speaks to the value of what that routine does for me and like how it makes me feel like myself. But, when I was... like one of the things I've always struggled with, which I know a lot of people struggle with, is that late night eating. And, after a long day, we get to the couch, we're watching TV, and we're craving dopamine ultimately. And we start to get bored, and we don't even notice we're bored. We just notice what do I want to eat? Because we want to feel differently. And my coach worked with me and asked me, like, what is food giving you that nothing else would give you? And I didn't have an answer for it. So she said, try to be creative and like think of what else could satisfy that. But I took her a little literally. So I was like, okay, let's be creative. And now if I'm like sitting on the couch with my husband and we're watching something and I start to notice it, but my physical hunger signals aren't there, I'll do a lanyard, or I'll literally, like, I have a coloring book, something I didn't have for like the last 20 years. But now I have coloring books. And honestly, it does the trick where I can still spend time with my husband, but my mind is engaged where I'm getting the dopamine I want. Or, let's say you're trying to not check your email in the morning. Most of us tend to brush our teeth in the morning, hopefully all of us. Maybe that's when you practice your morning affirmations. You stack that on top of that so that you can train your brain how you want to think. What do you do as examples of how to kind of build healthy habits then?
Um, Boy, you were saying something, and sometimes I think about what you're saying, and I'm like, uh, I had another thought on this. I want to just do a little, encouragement to those people that do not want to wake up in the morning and exercise. I
Okay.
mean, I get you. So, because I had this client, like I remember talking about, my routine and trying to share some examples. She's like, Jennifer, she's like, I just can't. I have to think about getting to work. I can't. And so her time is right when she comes home from work.
Mm-hmm.
So she actually supplies herself with a snack because she knows that if she doesn't have a snack in the car, she's going to raid the pantry. So we have the snack in the car. She's ready to go. She walks in the house, gets her exercise clothes on, and it's go time. So I just think, so that's a way that she stacked that in,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think that, whatever it is, I like what you said earlier about, doing your yoga in the morning. That yoga was a segue to your morning routine.
Yeah.
So I think that when people are starting to stack and they're thinking about a time when would be good for them to, and I'm saying exercise, and I know that's kind of like the
Easy.
what's
It's just
that?
an easy example. I mean, we could talk about
Well, I
meal
think
prep.
just from like what I experience a lot of times with my clients, it's like that's the one thing that people don't make time for. I mean, we could apply it to a lot of different things, like, food preparations and things like that and when to do that. But you got to start small, you know, like to feel that you have to get up and do a routine might be overwhelming. So the fact that you got out of bed and you just started some stretching, some simple yoga routine, the whole act of just putting the exercise clothes on might be all that you do for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to use one example here. I remember back when my son was born, and I was a member of a really nice health club. They had a really nice daycare, and I was like, okay, time to hit the gym, time to get back to it. So I bring my son, I take him to the daycare. I all excited. I get up into the exercise class, and Mrs. Bourbonnais, please report to the childcare. Like honestly, I was 5 minutes into the routine. I was so frustrated. So happened day 2. Day 3, and I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong here? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so, well, maybe you can guess. Instead of me exercising the next few days, I just went to have a coffee, expecting the fact that I'm going to get a call. So I'm just taking him to the daycare, putting him there, getting the call, 5 minutes, next time, 10 minutes, next time. And before you know it, 20 minutes had passed. I'm like, I haven't gotten a call. He must be used to this daycare. It's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So, we have a tendency to we think so big, we bite off more than we can chew, and then we get discouraged.
And
So I just want to encourage people, like when you start stacking, just think small and let that build.
I love that example. And honestly, I think that is the single most important thing. Like we can tell you, like, notice the cues, figure out what healthy means to you, all of that. Yeah, I encourage you to still do it, but none of it's really going to matter if you can't start small, because that, like, what our brain does will like have us think like we think to the end line, to the weight loss, to the goal, and we get so overly focused of that, like, and it makes it feel unachievable. It makes it feel so like we have to overcome so much more mental friction. And I literally got off the phone with a client just before this who is so focused on how bad she feels in her body. She worked out more this week than she has in a month. And instead of like celebrating that, she was so focused on how bad her body feels because she weighed herself this morning. And I'm like, you know what? Let's not weigh ourselves for a month. Let's just let your brain feel and see the positivity of the actions you're taking. And then you can weigh yourself in a month, which, let's be honest, weighing yourself weekly, you're not going to see anything that you want to really see. You're never going to see the big jump because that's not how we lose weight as human beings in general. But she was over, like, how I told you that I will take in like interviews or podcasts to try and like start my day with a specific mindset. I used to weigh myself just like everyone else did. And it would make me not believe in myself. It would make me anticipate failure. It would make it harder for me to be healthy. it made me want the Snickers bar. And she was like, you know what? You're right. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to just focus. This is her answer. I'm going to focus on losing 2 inches. And I'm like, no, focus on 1 centimeter. And she's like, what? Why? But I want to lose two inches. I'm like, what feels easier, 1 centimeter or 2 inches? She goes, 1 centimeter. I'm like, okay, focus on that. Let's get there. That doesn't mean that's the end line. It just means that's the first step. Let's get to the first step. And then it builds the motivation. So I'm so happy that you brought that up. And to anyone listening who wants to integrate and try and build healthy habits into their life, Jen just hit the nail on the head. Like, whatever you think your goal is, break it down to literally the smallest action step you can think of. And it might be just put my fitness clothes on. I'm not even going to go to the gym. I'm just going to put the clothes on. And then just drive to the gym and then leave. This is actually something James Clear talks about in his book, Atomic Habits.
Oh, okay.
Where there was a guy who just drove to the gym and then he would have a sip of water. He'd hang out for 2 minutes and he left for 3 months. That's all he did.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just got in the habit of going to the gym and slowly and surely been going to the gym for years. So yeah, it feels silly, but like, I'm so happy you said that, because starting small and just slowly building it in is the bee's knees.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like, it helps you to realize, what your barriers might be, so that you can work through those. Like, a screaming child that doesn't want to be in daycare.
Right.
Completely out of my control, but
100%.
And but it worked. It's the mindset, to not bite off more than you can chew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, breed success for yourself by starting small. I think that is the way to go. And if you don't know, where you want to start, then Jen and I have some fantastic freebies for you guys if you want them. Tell me about yours.
Yeah, so well, feel free to DM me. I've got a really nice little 5-tip guide to survive those late night munchies. So send me a message if you'd like that. I also have my book, Food Trance, which is kind of a workbook and book to help people overcome emotional eating, stress eating, and become more mindful when it comes to eating. So,
definitely useful.
What about you?
I want to get it at a different angle. I feel like a lot of our habits and decisions and behaviors are based on what we believe about ourselves. So you cover the food and I love it. You're so brilliant with it. So I figured I have this free webinar about how to create confidence within yourself so that you actually can believe in yourself. So if you are interested in learning how to create confidence, shoot me a DM and make sure you follow Jen and I. Jen's social is Lifestyle Nutrition Wellness, because next time we are going to be talking on hers. And what are we talking about next time?
We are talking about, a good topic. This is combating destructive thought processes, right? And becoming more constructive with our thought processes. So it's going to dive in a little bit deeper to some of those mindset barriers that kind of keep us stuck. Hopefully we can help you with that. Yeah.
So that will definitely help when it comes to building healthy habits. So make sure you follow Jen at Lifestyle Nutrition Wellness, because we will be live on her Instagram on May 2nd. I can't believe it's already going to be May. Yeah. Any closing notes for anyone?
I would say that just really, whatever you decide to do when it comes to your healthy habits, just really assess, make sure they're in line with who you are as a person. This is not about, looking better to fit into the bikini, or, so that we can look better, at a particular event coming up. I mean, that's so short term. Really focus on who you are and who you want to be as a person, as we get older, like approaching our 80s and our 90s years old, like, really, I think that's going to be my takeaway for the day.
I think that's a brilliant takeaway. We get very short-sighted. As I like to say, being healthy, as in thinking, feeling, and behaving healthy, isn't going anywhere. Our rush to the end line is typically what gets us in trouble. So I second that notion. Thank you again for joining me, as always. I hope you guys learned something, and we will see you on the 2nd to talk about destructive thought processes.
All right. Thanks, Laura.
Bye, guys.
Bye.